Hello guys, and welcome to this guide to assignment 2. Now, I received a couple of emails and I read a couple of forum posts, and I'm sensing a bit of concern, not about the content, but about the format of assignment 2. Now, the purpose of this video is to shed a bit of light on said format. To begin with, remember that there are three main sections that are composing assignment 2. The first one is your IMC strategy, the second one is your media strategy, and the third one is your budgeting and monitoring. So basically the costing, how much your plan will cost, and what are the steps you're implementing to make sure that you're monitoring the success of the campaign along the way. Now, I'm using as an example one of the best assignments I've received last year, and I hope the format of this assignment will inspire you. Now, please don't copy it. Every assignment is different. Don't fall in the trap of doing everything as this student did, because that may limit your creativity. That being said, this assignment has a good structure. So let's see what Najim, this was the name of the student, did last year. So first of all, we have a section 0, that's the executive summary, and here we don't want general information about the company, those we had in assignment 1. Here we want probably a recap of what were the communication objectives that you set in assignment 1. These are the motivators for assignment 2. These are the reasons why you're creating, in the first place, an IMC strategy. And bear in mind that if you have received feedback by me on your communication objectives and maybe there was something to tweak, you're absolutely free to change those objectives and restate the new ones in this section, the executive summary. What we really need to see in the executive summary is your objectives and your target audience. So we can make inferences and we can evaluate whether the strategies you're using are justified by objectives and target audience. Okay? So this is all for the executive summary. Now, let's scroll down to the first real section of the report. Now, the first section is the suggested IMC strategy. Here you're basically detailing and providing compelling motivations and arguments on why you're using one or another IMC tool. Now, remember that IMC is a strategic process of integration. We want to try to seamlessly integrate tools and medias to achieve positive brand equity. But even different tools can be combined to achieve synergistic effects. So in this assignment, for example, Najim was using advertising to increase awareness and was explaining how this is beneficial for the company that we were working on last year. And he does the same with public relations and sales promotions, every time referencing why this makes sense based on the target audience and the objectives that he set. After you have, actually a little caveat, he went a step further. He also repositioned the brand and offered insights and suggestions on how to develop a campaign. Now, this is entirely facultative and also takes a lot of space, so you're not really asked to do so. This is not a creative brand management course. This is a strategic course on communication. So if you wish to come up with a new positioning and to offer insights on how to achieve it, this would be the section where to do so. And so he is stating now what is the desired new positioning, and then he's detailing the creative aspect of the campaign. So how and what steps need to be taken to achieve the new positioning by creating a new TV campaign and using which type of testimonial. So this is the first part, IMC strategy, the combination of different IMC tools to achieve your communication objectives. Now comes the second section, which is the media strategy and media plan. Now, media strategy, media plan basically means that you need to first set your media objectives. And media objectives are falling within three main categories, as we have seen in the online sections, right? The first media objective is reach. How many consumers are we going to target and actually effectively capture? The second media objective is frequency. How many times the customers that we've reached will see a certain campaign or will interact with a certain salesperson, right? So frequency. is always higher than reach, right? Because it implies that we have at least reached the customer once. So it's always at least equal to 1 or superior, depending on how many times the same customers gets reached again. And third, we have continuity objectives. We need to understand and decide how long will our campaign air for, and whether it will be continuous, so running along all year, or it will be flattening, so maybe it's airing in March but not in April because there are seasonality effects. And so if we are an alpine lodge, if we are a ski resort, for example, we may intensify our advertising expenditures towards the winter season, right? There's little point in advertising in the summer season. And finally, we have also a third option, which is called pulsing. It's a combination of continuous and flattening. It means that we are running continuously along all year, as beer brands do, but as we approach the summer season and the weather becomes hotter and people becomes thirstier, we are intensifying, we are pulsing up our advertising expenditure. We're trying to reach more people and increase frequency, so to increase our sales, because it makes sense that there is a seasonality effect that justify an increase in expenditure. So these are the media objectives that you need to send, and immediately after, you need to talk about your media strategy, which basically means for which media are we going to deploy our IMC tools, right? There is a key distinction here. IMC tools are, for example, advertising or PR, but advertising can happen through different media, right? It can happen through TV, it can happen via radio, it can happen through flyers distributed by a bystander on the street. So in the media strategy section, you need to tell us what are the media that you're going to use to convey your campaign. And finally, it comes the monitoring and evaluation and budgeting section. Last year we didn't have budgeting because we were collaborating with an industry partner. The budget was set. Here you also need to say how much money do you need to run the campaign and how you're going to monitor its effectiveness. This other student did a great job. So this spreadsheet here, as you can see, details all the different medias and IMC tools that are used along the year, and you can really see, as you see the progression of these little blue squares, you see that the campaign is actually occurring with a flattening strategy at the beginning of the year, and then we have actually a continuous and pulsing strategy later on in the year. And also, in addition to this document that shows basically what media tools you're using and what IMC tools for different medias. So this table that you can find in Moodle just serves the purpose of organizing information in a really tight manner, so that you can explain simply how you're going to measure the effectiveness of a campaign. Through different cases along the year, we have seen that when you start a campaign, you also need to measure its effectiveness, right? We have seen with the Fredbo case, for example, there was a guy counting the number of cars swinging on the left going to the Fredbo resort as a result of the campaign. With Johnny Walker, we have learned a market testing depending on different countries. So I suggest you take all the information that you have learned during case discussions, refer to the book and the online lectures. There is an entire chapter on the book on how to evaluate campaign effectiveness with field methods or lab methods, and that is your reference point. I hope this brief video clarifies. As you've seen, this is really a brief assignment. It's just 2,000 words. I want to go through Najim assignment again just to give you an idea, scrolling relatively fast through the document. You have an executive summary, right? Relatively brief. Just summarize the communication objectives, tell us what's the target audience. Then go and address the IMC strategy. Which kind of IMC tools are you using and why they're relevant for your target? And this would be probably 3 to 4 pages. Now, here there is an extra section that Najam has put about creative campaign. You're not required to do that unless you want to go the extra mile, but also be mindful you only have 2,000 words. The second section is the media strategy and media plan. As you see, probably 1.5 pages is enough. And finally, we have monitoring and evaluation. And that can be probably half a page, but use the exhibits. Use the media plan spreadsheet and use the evaluation and monitoring spreadsheet. You can embed everything in the same file as long as it's clear. And what can I say? Best of luck. We will see each other soon again when we'll go through a general review for the exam, touching on the key concepts that are most likely to be asked and assessed during the exam.